Good evening to our viewers watching on television and those joining us online across our social media platforms. I am Madana Doric with the Wednesday, April 29th edition of the Guyana TV9 News. In the headlines tonight, 15,938 students begin NGSA 2026 as nation rallies in support. Attorney General warns the government cash grants being wasted at gambling dens. 13 deaths, 64 injured in workplace accidents since January. High Court awards $8 million to man wrongfully imprisoned for 80 days. And 11 of 14 motorcyclists killed this year were not wearing helmets. Now for the news in depth. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal is warning that government cash grants are being squandered at betting shops, branding the trend a national social crisis. Speaking on issues in the news, Nandlal revealed that many beneficiaries are diverting essential support funds into gambling, sparking a government push for tighter regulations and higher taxes on the industry. More in this report.
The Attorney General said he has seen evidence suggesting that beneficiaries are immediately directing grant funds towards betting outlets.
Innumerable WhatsApp and Facebook messages of gambling, complaints about gambling. In fact, I could read some of them. People are gambling out the cash grant. They receive the cash grant and they gone straight to the gambling shops and blow it out. I have photographs of persons going there with the cash grant money in their hands. That is not why the government is giving cash grants. School children cash grants I'm talking about, as well as the $100,000 cash grants.
The Attorney General stressed that the administration remains committed to addressing the wider social fallout linked to gambling, while noting that national efforts are underway to examine the issue more closely. His comments come amid broader government plans to consult stakeholders on a range of social concerns, including addiction and youth exposure to harmful influences. President Dr. Mohamed Irfan had previously announced nationwide consultations aimed at confronting issues such as gambling, drug abuse, and the influence of social media on children. He said the government has been hearing increasing concerns from families, faith leaders, and community groups about gambling's impact on household stability and finances. Vice President Barjadio has also warned that gambling addiction is spreading across workplaces and communities, affecting people from all walks of life.
We already made it clear that this gambling that has blossomed and created a series of negative problems from our communities, breaking up families, creating hardship for a lot of single parents, mothers especially, where people utilize the money that they have, their income, to all day be online gambling, because what we have now is gambling on demand. It is on every phone. It's an app, and it's facilitated by the local establishments and a very liberal licensing policy and a very liberal taxation policy. So expect stronger regulation in this area.
Once limited mainly to casinos, gambling in Guyana has expanded quickly through betting shops and mobile apps, making it more accessible and, according to officials, more socially disruptive. In response, the Vice President has said the government is considering tighter regulations and higher taxes on online gambling amid rising concerns about financial strain on families. Nandlal further disclosed that efforts to tackle the issue are already in motion, signaling that policy responses are being developed as part of a wider government strategy to curb the social and economic impact of gambling across the country. Melanie Morris, Guyana TV9 News.
Guyana has recorded a staggering 13 workplace fatalities and 64 non-fatal injuries in just the first 4 months of 2026, prompting a stern call for action from Minister of Labor Kiyomo Griffith. Speaking at Tuesday's OSH Symposium, Griffith labeled these figures unacceptable and urged a national shift toward prevention, insisting that stricter safety protocols are no longer optional but a necessity to protect the nation's workforce. Here's more.
Let me be clear. Compliance alone does not protect workers. Prevention does. Prevention essentially means identifying risks before they occur, designing systems that eliminate hazards, creating environments where workers can thrive and not just survive. Injury, illness, or stress are not part of the job. They are preventable.
The Labour Minister explained that while improvements have been made, gaps remain. He noted that the country must move beyond simply reacting to incidents and instead focus on preventing them. This, he said, requires stricter adherence to safety protocols and a shift in a mindset across all industries. Griffith highlighted the progress achieved through stronger legislation and enforcement frameworks such as the Occupational Safety and Health Act and the National Occupational Health and Safety Policy of Health Guide Safer Practices. The re-establishment of the ministry also allowed for wider inspections and targeted interventions nationwide. Between 2020 and 2025, over 6,000 inspections were conducted, reaching more than 27,000 workers. These efforts contributed to a decline in workplace deaths and a significant reduction in non-fatal incidents. However, the minister made it clear that past progress does not excuse current setbacks. He also drew attention to the growing impact of psychosocial risks in the workplace. Issues like stress, burnout, and unhealthy work environments, he explained, can be just as harmful as physical dangers.
Employers must recognize that good safety and health is not a cost. It is an investment. Healthy workers are more productive, more engaged, and more innovative. Workers, too, are critical partners. They see the risks first. They understand realities on the ground. When employers and workers collaborate, safety becomes more than a policy, it becomes a culture.
Looking ahead, Griffith reaffirmed the government's commitment to stronger enforcement and safer workplaces. He pointed to ongoing national activities, including safety walks and upcoming outreach events, as part of a broader push to build awareness. Ultimately, he emphasized that protecting workers is a shared responsibility that requires consistent effort from everyone involved. Melanie Morris, GAN TV9 News.
The High Court has ordered the state to pay $8 million in damages to Terrence Sandy following a landmark ruling on wrongful arrest and malicious prosecution. The judgment follows a harrowing legal battle stemming from a 2023 incident in which Sandy was arrested and detained by the Guyana Police Force for nearly 3 months without sufficient evidence. Justice in the case found that Sandy was deprived of his liberty for 80 days and subjected to prosecution that lacked any reasonable or probable cause. The court ruled that the police's actions were not only legally flawed but also caused significant harm to Sandy's personal dignity and reputation. This $8 million award covers damages for false imprisonment and the emotional toll of the ordeal. More news after the break. Stay tuned.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2026 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Persons eligible for registration must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for their area of residence to apply. Persons who are already registered could apply for a name change if they have changed their names since they were registered, apply for corrections if there is incorrect information on their national ID cards. Persons who are desirous of conducting any of the above transactions must provide the relevant supporting documents. Persons who are already registered must collect their new ID cards if they have not yet done so. This registration exercise will end on May 29, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy. GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. If you have moved to a new address since you were registered, you are required to update your address by applying for a transfer to ensure your address is accurate. Where to apply for a transfer? Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to apply for a transfer. When to apply for a transfer? You can apply to have your address updated during this national registration exercise. This registration exercise will end on May 29, 2026. The office hours for GCOM are: permanent registration offices open Monday to Thursdays from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 16 hours 30, and on Fridays from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. You're watching the Ghana TV9 News Bulletin. A new chapter began today for 15,938 learners as the 2026 NGSA officially got underway nationwide. Beyond the statistics, the assessment marks the culmination of years of hard work for students, parents, and teachers alike, as the nation rallies behind its youngest scholars during this critical transition to secondary school. The details in this report. From Region 1 to Region 10, candidates entered examination rooms backed by strong national support, with families, teachers, and communities rallying to ensure students feel prepared and confident. The examinations mark a major milestone in each child's academic journey as they transition from primary to secondary education. During a visit to Diamond Primary School on Wednesday, Minister of Education Honorable Sonia Parag extended encouragement to students nationwide, noting that although she could not visit every school, the government stands fully behind each candidate.
I am so privileged to be here this morning, and I wish I could have been in all of the schools giving best wishes to all of our students. But nonetheless, I want to wish all of our children writing exams today and tomorrow all the best from myself, from the president, from our cabinet. And I know that they have been working hard because I've been to some of the schools, also sat in on some of the virtual classes, as well as some of the tents that we had set up. And this is what I want to talk about, some of the initiatives that the Ministry of Education would have launched, not only in 2025 leading to the 2026 exams, but also prior to that.
Minister Parag highlighted several key interventions aimed at improving student performance, including NGSA preparatory tents, targeted academic support, and ongoing teacher training. She also pointed to broader education reforms such as grade 2 and 4 literacy assessments, with numeracy assessments to follow, all geared towards strengthening foundational learning. Parents were reassured that adequate resources, including textbooks, past papers, and digital tools, have been distributed nationwide to support students. Meanwhile, His Excellency President Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali urged students to remain focused and confident, encouraging them to give their best during the examinations. Minister within the Office of the President, Honorable Kwame McCoy, also commended students for their hard work, reaffirming the government's continued investment in education through initiatives such as cash grants, school feeding programs, transportation, and digital learning.
I want to wish all our children across our country successes at these exams, and that their hard work will eventually pay out into results that are satisfactory to their parents, themselves, and the community around them, their teachers inclusive. And we are committed as a government to the continued growth and development and building the educational foundation of our children, because we want all of our children to do well and to be able to succeed and to eventually lead successful careers.
Member of Parliament and Chief Planning Officer at the Ministry of Education, Ms. Mishka White-Griffith, reminded students to stay calm and approach the exams with confidence.
NGSA is just a placement exam. I would like you to take a moment and just take a breath and look at how far you have come. And the road ahead is still going to be amazing. So heading into your exams, breathe and relax. This is nothing for you to be stressed about. You will all enter high school where life will be amazing, and the opportunities that you will have in high school will take your skills and talent and your intelligence to a whole new level.
Meanwhile, Ghana TV9 News also visited the Windsor Forest Primary School on Wednesday morning, where parents and their charges were excitedly in preparation mode. Head teacher Leila Inderdio extended best wishes to all students around the country, writing the NGSA.
Miss Leila Inderdio, HM Windsor Forest Primary. I'm here this morning to wish our children all success with confidence that they will do well. And I trust that our preparation, which we put in all the extra hours, minutes, and hard work, will be paying off at the end of the examination. We would have gone the extra mile with our staff. We did a lot of team teaching, revision, action plan, whatever we had to do to put in all the extra work so that our children is well prepared for this examination.
Insert. Adana Dorek, Ghana TV9 News. Guyana stepped onto the global stage at the United Nations with a clear message. Indigenous participation must be more than symbolic. It must be supported, funded, and sustained. At a major international forum, the country used its voice to showcase a model rooted in partnership and practical action, while also calling on the world to rethink how indigenous communities are included in global decision-making. More in this report. Representing Guyana was Sonia Lachman, a leader with a dual role as both a government official and an indigenous representative. Speaking at the 25th session of the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues in New York, she brought a perspective shaped by lived experience and national policy. The gathering, held from April 20th to May 1st, 2026, focused on improving how indigenous peoples are supported within international systems. Lachman made it clear that global inclusion begins at home. She argued that without strong national support, indigenous voices cannot truly be heard on the international stage.
We cannot expect the full and effective participation of indigenous peoples at the regional and multilateral levels if they are ignored at the national level. As an Arawak leader for my village and the vice chairwoman of the National Tushaus Council, I am proud that the participation of indigenous leaders at this multilateral forum is institutionalized by the government of Guyana. The state finances our participation. In addition to the government representatives, our delegation includes representatives from the National Tushaus Council, the statutory body which represents all elected leaders.
Guyana, she explained, has taken a different path from many nations. The government actively funds indigenous participation in global forums, ensuring leaders are not sidelined due to lack of resources. Representatives from the National Tushaus Council, an official body of elected indigenous leaders, are included in delegations to major international discussions, reinforcing a system where indigenous voices are not only present but influential. This partnership is backed by tangible support. The government provides annual funding to the council and channels financial resources directly to indigenous villages. Instead of relying on slow-moving intermediaries, funds are deposited straight into community accounts through national initiatives. These investments cover areas such as education, health, economic development, and youth and women's empowerment. Ghana's low-carbon development strategy channels carbon credit revenues directly to indigenous villages. About 14.4 billion Guyana's dollars has been distributed over 3 years, funding community-led projects guided by village sustainability plans. Lachman also criticized global systems, noting that funding for indigenous peoples is fragmented and slowed by bureaucracy. She called for direct, reliable financing and greater recognition of indigenous governance.
Guyana's experience has shown that when indigenous peoples are entrusted with resources, we deliver on forests, on livelihoods, on resilience, and on global goals.
Adana Dork, Ghana TV9 News. 33 people have died in road accidents in 2026 compared to 28 during the same period last year. Serious crashes are also increasing, showing a worrying shift toward more high-impact deadly incidents. At the same time, minor accidents are actually declining, but officials say that's no reason to celebrate. When crashes are happening now, they're far more severe and far more likely to end in tragedy. Traffic officials are urging all road users to take responsibility, warning that discipline, caution, and better decision making are critical to saving lives. We'll be back after the short break. Stay tuned.
Want to place your death announcements and in memoriam messages on Channel 9? Call 592-761-5006, 710-5008, 600-5006. Or visit our office at Lot 85A Lamaha Street, Albertown, Georgetown, Century 21 Building.
Guyana, Channel 9 is now Guy TV9, proudly under new management. We're building stronger with a balanced and open platform for all advertisers. Whether you're promoting a business, service, or event, your message belongs right here. So choose your spot, news, prime time, or anytime, and reach viewers across Guyana. With affordable rates and professional service, Guy TV9 is your partner in progress. So visit us at Lot 21A, Lamaha Street, Georgetown, in the Century 21 building, or call 600-5006 or 761-5006. Guyana TV9. New leadership, fresh outlook, real results.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. With 14 motorcyclists already killed on Guyana's roads in the first 4 months of 2026, a senior traffic rank is sounding the alarm on a culture of recklessness. The official is urging riders and pillions passengers to view helmets not as optional accessories but as life-saving gear, noting that 11 of the 14 victims were found without head protection at the time of their deaths. More in this report. Sergeant Nicholas Ingram of the Guyana Police Force has issued a strong reminder that protective helmet use is not optional but illegal and life-preserving requirement. Speaking from the Traffic Headquarters Subordinate Office, Sergeant Ingram emphasized that both riders and pillion passengers must comply with the law at all times. His message forms part of ongoing efforts by traffic authorities to reinforce safe road practices amid increasing motorcycle use across the country. He pointed to the legal framework governing motorcycle safety, specifically Regulation 3 of the Motorcycle Protective Act, which clearly mandates helmet use. According to the regulation, anyone operating or riding on a motorcycle must wear a safety helmet that is properly secured.
Any persons that's operating that motorcycle must at all given times wear their safety helmet, and it must be properly fastened as I'm doing so. So at all given time, when you're driving a motorcycle, you must, at all times, ensure, firstly, just like driving, you place a safety helmet on your head. And if you're driving, you wear your seatbelt.
Drawing a parallel to seatbelt use in cars, he stressed that wearing a helmet should be treated as a non-negotiable habit. Just as drivers instinctively buckle up, motorcyclists must ensure their helmets are worn correctly before starting their journey.
So, as before you drive your motorcycle, please ensure you have your safety helmet and it's worn properly and fastened safely. With that, safe driving saves lives.
traffic authorities continue to highlight that proper helmet use significantly reduces the risk of severe head injuries, which remain one of the leading causes of fatalities in motorcycle-related accidents. The call forms part of a broader public education campaigns aimed at changing behavior on the roads. As enforcement efforts continue, Sergeant Ingram's appeal serves as both a warning and a reminder. Road safety begins with personal responsibility. His closing message was clear: safe driving saves lives, and wearing a helmet could make the difference between life and death. Adana Dorg, Ghana TV9 News. Turning to regional news in Jamaica, the search for former Detective Corporal Sylvester Reed ended in tragedy on Wednesday, when his body was discovered in bushes along the Yorktown, Parnassus main road. Reed, 42, had been missing since April 14th. The breakthrough in the case reportedly came after a suspect in custody led investigators to the site where the body had been dumped. This follows the discovery of Reed's abandoned vehicle in Spanish Town last week, which investigators found containing bloodstains and personal items. The former Jamaica Constabulary Force (JCF) member was on interdiction at the time of his disappearance. While a motive has not yet been confirmed, authorities have officially reclassified the case as a homicide investigation. Internationally, a South Korean appeals court today, April 29, 2026, sentenced ousted President Yoon Suk Yeol to 7 years in prison for his role in the failed December 2024 martial law declaration. The Seoul High Court increased Yoon's previous 5-year term, finding him guilty of obstruction of justice and illegal use of presidential security forces to evade arrest. The judge ruled that Yoon bypassed constitutional requirements by failing to consult his cabinet before the decree and subsequently used security personnel as a private army to block investigators. This 7-year sentence is in addition to the life term Yoon is already serving for rebellion. His legal team has denounced the ruling and confirmed they will move the case to the Supreme Court. Those are our major headlines for tonight's newscast. For more trending stories, follow us on our Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube platforms at GUR TV9. I'm Adana Dorg. Thanks for watching.